So today we're going to look at 3 tips when we are faced with difficult parents. I know we've all been there and done that, haven't we? I am Charlotte with Colorful Teaching for you, and what I want you to recognize is that when a parent, the more a parent actually loves their child, the more protective they are of that child. All right. So while we might have parents who will send us these emails when a problem arises, and they're very, very good about listening to what we have to say and working really well with us, we do have other parents who can sometimes take their child's word as as the word and forget to ask about other perspectives, or even if they do ask, sometimes there's a roadblock where they're just focused on what their child said and they don't always hear or see what happened throughout the day. They often forget that by the time a child goes home, whatever happened during that day has now escalated to a much greater extent, and so it's sometimes blown out of proportion. And so we have to, as teachers, understand that this happens at home, right? We know this happens at home, and we know that when a parent loves a child, they become very protective of that child. It is someone that they love very much, and that child is close to their heart. And I've learned more about this as I've become a parent, and I've been very cognizant of the fact that I've had parents who have been like this, and I don't want that for my child and for other teachers who are dealing with my children or my child. So I've come up with 5 strategies to help you as a teacher breathe a little bit better. All right. So number 1, keep your cool. I know, easier said than done, but what we're going to do here, a way to keep your cool, is to remember what I just said about how a parent comes at a problem. Many of them come at it as, my child is hurt, I'm very protective, what do I do? I need to care for that child first. Sometimes it's blown out of proportion, and so we need to find a way to say, you know what, I get it. The parent is really trying to help that child and loves that child deeply. So we're going to keep our cool. We're going to give both the parent and myself some time to cool off, and then we'll come and touch base again. Okay? The next one is to set clear boundaries. So I've had parents who have, come in and asked for a 2-hour meeting for one child. I know, right? 2 hours. Let's say I'm done at 3 o'clock. So 3 to 5 I have a meeting, and then I have to prep for my students for the next day or do marking. So now I'm there to 7 o'clock, and then I live far away, so I get home by 8 o'clock. I'm beyond exhausted. I barely have time for my family, and then I have to go to bed and wake up the next day. That is way too much. No one should monopolize that amount of time. So I've learned from other teachers, and I've implemented this, and it works beautifully. You are in charge of your classroom, not a parent. You set that time. You let them know at the beginning of the day, or the year, what your expectations are. I work from this time to this time. Meetings are, 15 minutes long if that's what you want, and your meeting time starts at this time and ends at this time, and remind them about their start and end time before they show up to the meeting, and then set an alarm and gently walk them out the door. When the alarm goes off, you know what, I've got another appointment, you start to walk out the door. All right? So you need to be very firm about and protective of your time. Now, if there's a bigger problem that needs more time, then you need to actually assess, you need time to think about it, and then come back to the drawing board and figure out how you can help the parent and the child, but maybe you have a different time frame for this. And then follow up with that time frame. Okay? So the third one after that is to focus on perspective. So listen to what the parent has to say, and imagine yourself in their shoes and look at it from their perspective. Maybe they're coming across as being aggressive, but it could be that they're just feeling a lot of emotions and needs a way to let it out and just bear out their soul first, so that they can actually think about how to approach the problem in a better way to help their child. So we need to figure out what they're feeling and where they're coming from. So that's the third one, focus on perspective. Number fourth is show you care. So after your meeting is done, follow up with the parent and let them know let them know that you've heard them. Let them know what you've implemented and how it's worked and what you plan to do next. All right? Then the fifth one is to ask for help. Now, if you aren't able to help that parent, instead of just sitting there and waiting for it to escalate to get bigger, and hoping that you can fix it because you're too afraid to ask for help, I recommend asking for help right away. Maybe it's an administration or another teacher who needs to sit in with you so they can be a bit of a buffer. It's totally fine. Ask for help now when the problem is small, instead of when it escalates and then words are said or misunderstandings occur and then it gets to be too big of a problem. Okay? Because it is okay to ask for help. Yes, I have done it so many times and I've been part of helping other teachers as well. It is okay. So let's recap really quickly what we've talked about today is why we are working on not just these steps can be used for all parents, but especially for difficult parents who are giving us a little bit of a difficult time. Why it's important to use these strategies. We've looked at the 5 strategies. One of them is to keep your cool. Second is to set clear boundaries. I'm very, very, very strict about this one. The third one is focus on perspective. The fourth one is to show you care. And the fifth one is to ask for help. And don't be afraid of that. All right. We've also looked at how to implement each of these strategies. So if you need any support here, please feel free to contact me anytime. And in the meantime, remember to create, experience, and teach from the heart. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.